In a quiet Pennsylvania neighborhood, what began as a joyful Thanksgiving celebration quickly turned into a nightmare. Two little girls vanished without a trace. A father, pushed to the brink of despair, takes justice into his own hands while the police chase chilling leads. Who is the true perpetrator? And how far will a father go to get his daughter back? These questions will be answered in today's show. The Dover and Birch families gathered to celebrate Thanksgiving, unaware of the tragedy that was about to strike them. The air was filled with the aroma of freshly baked turkey and the sound of children's laughter. Keller Dover, a rugged-looking carpenter with a tender heart, watched proudly as his 6-year-old daughter, Anna, played happily with her best friend, 7-year-old Joy Birch. The girls ran around the yard, their laughter blending with the crunch of dry leaves beneath their feet. In a moment no one could have predicted, the little girls asked permission to retrieve a whistle from the Dover house, and that was the last time anyone saw them. That innocent moment would mark the beginning of a nightmare. Minutes later, when the parents realized the girls hadn't returned, panic set in. The initial search around the neighborhood yielded no results. The laughter and joy of the celebration turned into desperate cries and tearful pleas. The investigation took a dramatic turn when the police located the suspicious RV. In a tense and dangerous operation, officers surrounded the vehicle, hoping to find the girls or at least some evidence of their whereabouts. Instead, they found Alex Jones, a disheveled young man with a lost look in his eyes. Jones appeared confused and frightened by the police presence. His erratic behavior and incoherent responses immediately raised suspicions. When officers attempted to question him, Jones merely mumbled and looked around with glazed-over eyes. As hours passed with no sign of the girls, the local police took over. Detective David Loki, who had apprehended Jones, was assigned to the case. The interrogation of Alex Jones turned into an exercise in frustration for Loki and his team. Despite their intense efforts, Jones provided no useful information about the girls' whereabouts. The prime suspect, Alex Jones, reveals the location where he lives. Loki visits the home of Holly Jones, who claims to be Alex's aunt. Holly, caught off guard, insists that Alex has never caused any trouble. She spins a heart-wrenching tale, claiming that Alex's parents died when he was just 5 years old, leaving her and her missing husband to adopt the troubled boy. Meanwhile, the forensics found nothing, no trace of the missing girls in Alex's camper. This fed the growing anxiety of the Dover and Birch families. Alex is set free. Can you believe it? The man who many believe to be responsible for this heinous crime walks away without a shred of evidence holding him. But the story doesn't end there. Detective Loki, continuing his relentless investigation, stumbles upon a shocking discovery inside a seemingly unrelated suspect's house, a mummified body. The decomposed corpse of a man is found clutching a labyrinth-shaped medallion. But hold on, it gets worse. A local priest admits to cold-blooded murder, claiming that the victim confessed to killing 16 children. The priest, in a twisted form of justice, took matters into his own hands. 16 innocent lives lost, and now the priest faces the consequences as Loki cuffs him, adding another layer of horror to this already mind-boggling case. Keller Dover learns that Alex has been released. Furious beyond belief, Keller takes justice into his own hands. In a confrontation that escalates quickly, Keller grabs Alex, demanding the truth. What happens next will send chills down your spine. Alex breaks down, saying that the girls didn't stop crying until he left them. What does that mean? Are the girls alive? Dead? Or is this just the beginning of another terrifying chapter in this nightmare? Stay tuned as the mystery deepens and new revelations emerge in the search for the missing girls. As the police followed dead ends, Keller Dover, Anna's father, began to feel that the system was failing him. Every hour that passed without news of his daughter felt like a knife twisting deeper into his heart. His frustration turned to anger, and anger into a dangerous determination. Dover, a man used to solving problems with his own hands, couldn't bear the thought of standing idly by while his daughter suffered unimaginable horrors. His eyes now burned with a fierce and dangerous resolve. The transformation of the loving family man into a man willing to do anything was evident to all who knew him, according to neighbors. The release of Alex Jones due to lack of evidence was the catalyst that pushed Dover to cross a line from which there would be no return. In his mind, justice had failed, and it was now up to him to do whatever was necessary to find his daughter. According to police investigations, Dover decided to take justice into his own hands. On a rainy night, while the community slept uneasily, Dover kidnapped Alex Jones. The act, executed with precision that spoke of meticulous planning, marked the beginning of Dover's descent into darkness. Jones's disappearance did not go unnoticed. Loki, already suspicious of Dover, intensified his surveillance on the desperate father, even following him on more than one occasion, becoming familiar with the places he frequented. The torture sessions were a macabre dance of desperation and cruelty. Dover, consumed by his mission, lost more and more of his humanity with each blow he delivered. Birch, though initially reluctant, found himself trapped in a spiral of violence from which he couldn't escape. Jones, in his deteriorated mental state, was unable to provide the information Dover so desperately sought. His incoherent screams and senseless pleas only served to fuel his captor's frustration and anger. The blood-stained floor of the abandoned bathroom bore silent witness to the horrors taking place there. Meanwhile, Keller's wife, Grace Dover, sank into a deep depression at the family home. Unable to cope with her daughter's disappearance and her husband's increasingly frequent absences, Grace spent her days in a stupor induced by medication, her empty gaze fixed on the family photos adorning the walls. According to police reports, Grace even called the police once, thinking there was an intruder in her home, who she thought could be her daughter. The police were unsure if this really happened or was just in her mind. Keller Dover's transformation from a loving father to a ruthless torturer was a testament to how love and desperation can drive a person to the darkest extremes of human behavior. Every day, Dover sank deeper into an abyss of guilt, rage, and despair. While Keller Dover was lost in his spiral of violence and desperation, Detective Loki continued his relentless pursuit of the truth. His investigations led him through a maze of dead ends, each more frustrating than the last. Determined to crack the case, Loki began investigating other angles. He reviewed old cases of missing children, searching for patterns or connections that might shed light on the fate of Anna and Joy. The case took an unexpected turn when Loki came across Bob Taylor, a disturbed man with a sick fascination for mazes. Several neighbors had reported seeing someone matching Taylor's description in suspicious circumstances. Taylor's arrest seemed like the breakthrough they had been waiting for. His home, a grotesque place, was filled with blood-stained clothes, snakes, and unsettling drawings of mazes covering every available surface. The parents were informed of this discovery and identified some of Anna and Joy's clothing found in Taylor's boxes. This seemed to close the case and point to the responsible party, but this story still had more chapters to unfold. Taylor's interrogation was a surreal experience for Loki. The man, with his wild eyes and constant babbling about snakes and mazes, seemed to be the embodiment of the evil the community feared. Loki lost control and assaulted Taylor. During the altercation, other officers intervened, but Taylor managed to grab a gun and ensured his silence forever. This left the police with more questions than answers. Was Taylor the real kidnapper, or just a deeply disturbed individual imitating crimes he had learned about? Loki once again found himself at a dead end, but he couldn't shake the suspicion that there was a deeper connection between Taylor, Alex Jones, and the girls' disappearances. Detective Loki, feeling the pressure, begins to piece together a disturbing puzzle. While sifting through Taylor's belongings, Loki stumbles upon a chilling discovery, a photo of the man the priest brutally murdered. What does this mean? In a horrifying realization, Loki connects the dots. Taylor's labyrinth drawings match the medallion found on the mummified corpse. It's all connected. The labyrinth, the priest, the murders, an intricate web of lies and death now coming to light. The possibility of closing the case vanished when it was discovered that Taylor was a disturbed man recreating old kidnapping cases. The blood-stained clothing turned out to be from pigs, and the mazes were an obsession born of his own traumatic childhood. Furthermore, the police discovered evidence that Taylor had stolen the girls' clothes from their homes. Then, in a surprising twist, Joy Birch was found alive. But Anna was still missing. According to witnesses at the hospital, Joy was half asleep and unable to explain what had happened. But at one point, she looked at Keller and said, "You were there." What did this mean? Was Keller involved in some way? Hours earlier, he had been seen near Holly Jones' house, and upon hearing these words, he fled the hospital, and it was the last time anyone saw him. Hospital staff saw Loki following Keller's trail, arriving at the abandoned house where Jones had been held captive, to free him. But the horror doesn't stop there. Detective Loki goes to Holly's house to inform her that they found Alex. He notices something strange: the door to Holly's house is unlocked. He cautiously steps inside and uncovers the ultimate revelation, a photo of Holly's husband. And in a jaw-dropping twist, Loki realizes the truth. Holly's husband is the very man the priest killed, the man responsible for the disappearance of countless children. The detective, gun in hand and heart pounding, burst into the house. And according to his statements, in a dramatic confrontation, he confronted Holly just as she was about to inject Anna with a lethal dose of sedatives, but he managed to shoot Holly and save Anna. He quickly rushed her to the hospital. Anna Dover was rescued, her small body trembling and her eyes filled with a horror no child should ever experience. At the time of this report, Keller's whereabouts remain unknown. According to police reports and the reconstruction of events, it's possible that Keller visited Holly the day before Joy was found and headed to the same house after leaving the hospital. Speculation suggests Keller went to Holly's house and once inside, told her that he knew the girls had been there. Tracking his phone revealed the last place he was Holly's house. Shell casings were found in the yard. Thanks to Alex Jones' testimony and Loki's investigations, it was discovered that Holly and her late husband had kidnapped children as part of a supposed war against God to avenge the death of their son and to turn traumatized parents into demons. It was also revealed that Alex had been their first kidnapping and Taylor their second. Keller Dover's disappearance became another mystery that fueled the community's speculation. Some saw him as a tragic hero, a father who did the unthinkable for the love of his daughter. Others believed he had gone too far in his pursuit of justice. The truth, as always, lay somewhere in between, as complex and murky as the events that had led to this conclusion. Some even claimed to have heard a whistle outside Holly's house. Could it be the same whistle the girls had gone to retrieve? The final question, the one that haunted everyone involved and those who knew the story, was simple but profound. If you were faced with the unthinkable, if what you loved most was taken from you, how far would you go to get it back? And could you live with the consequences of your actions? Join us in the following stories, where each revelation leads to more questions and even darker discoveries. There are more stories to come, and you won't want to miss them. Until next time, take care, and God bless America.